We are back outside today for another grilling try. I 100% admit I am no grill master. I have the cheapest possible thing you could smoke meats on. I was using the worst equipment, so I'm trying to upgrade a little bit without going crazy. And this is my latest upgrade. This is the Slow N Sear. I follow a lot of barbecue channels. A bunch of them swear by this thing. It's supposed to get me better temperature control than what I've been doing with my baskets. So let's open it up and see what the heck it is. We have stickers. Gotta like stickers. A magnet. A user's guide. And some metal. All right, this is it. This is the Slow N Sear. This is the older version that does not have the mesh at the bottom. They have one that has a mesh at the bottom that is supposed to help keep the coals in and promote stuff, but I figured I can just get some mesh and put it under there. This was much cheaper than the new version. I got this for a pretty good deal on Amazon. I'll put the link down below. The way this works is it goes up into the grill. You stack your coals in here. You have a little water tray here if you want. On the new one, you can remove the water tray and give you a little bit more room for coals. But for me, just getting started out, this sucker was gonna do the job. I like the construction. The welds are acceptable. They're pretty good. I used to be a car guy, so I'm used to looking at like good welds on car parts, and these are acceptable welds. They're not the best I've ever seen, but it's gonna get beat up in my grill. Speaking of grilling, what are we gonna test this out with? We are gonna try to make something called poor man's burnt ends. Burnt ends are where you take a brisket and you take the fatty part and you chop it up into cubes, and then you make little barbecue cubey nuggety goodness. Well, brisket's still really expensive right now, and a big brisket for my family is way too much. There's just 3 of us. So I bought a little chuck roast, and you're supposed to make something that gets close to barbecue burnt ends using a chuck roast. So we're gonna try that. I guess it's time to set up a grill. I have my trusty little copper top Webber Kettle Grill. It's semi-clean from the last cook, and we're gonna go ahead and throw the good old Slow N Sear in here. I have the new Slow N Sear spin grate. I bought a lot of their stuff, so hopefully this all works. I tested this on a rack of ribs. Go ahead and check out that video. It was a disaster, but we learned things. And that's the only way you get better. We take our Slow N Sear, we put it to one side of the grill. Ooh, it tucks in nice and tight. I like that. Good fit, Slow N Sear. Spin it over there. This should line up perfectly because this is their product. Yep, look at that. Now I have a nice open area to put my grill or my coals in, but I'm very dirty. I don't want to get this nice shirt dirty. Hold on. I learned something else by reading the instructions. Who would have thought? I've been putting way too much charcoal in my baskets when I'm doing my low and slow cooks. So I'm supposed to put about a dozen briquettes with 1 fire starter under it, let that catch and smolder down, and then cover it with unlit charcoal. And that's gonna help me keep a lower temperature. My temperature's always shot up super hard because I was using too much lit charcoal. I'm using one of these things. They are called a tumbleweed, and they work pretty well. And we are lit. While we're waiting for this thing to get up and going, let's go ahead and chunk up our barbecue chuck. We'll do that inside. It's so hot. We've moved inside because it is super hot outside. And all we need to do is take our chuck roast and cut it into like 1-inch cubes and season it however you like. Speaking of seasoning, I used this stuff on my last rib recipe, and I went nice and heavy with it. It has a lot of salt in it. Always check your rubs to make sure it has salt or not. I knew this had salt, so I didn't add any salt. I ruined a rack of ribs basically because this stuff was just too heavy and too salty. So I'm gonna make my own rub this time.
To prep the chuck roast, all we're gonna do is cut it into roughly 1-inch chunks. Try to get them as close as you can. You don't have to be super precise. For our rub, we are mixing garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, and brown sugar. Didn't really measure, just kind of threw in enough till my ancestors said it was good. And now we're going to put that in a bowl, and then in a bigger bowl because I misestimated the size of the bowl, shake it around, and we're going to put them on a wire rack. This is going to help us be able to move them around a little bit easier and not have to mess with them as much in the grill. If you noticed, I didn't put any salt or pepper in my rub. That was on purpose. I wanted to be able to salt and pepper them individually to make sure that I got an even coating of salt and pepper on each little bite-sized chunkity chunk. Once that's done, flip them and do it again.
These coals are nice and red hot. Got small ones. 2 small ones should work. We'll put one there so it kind of catches soon. And now we go ahead and leave the bottom vent completely open, and we're going to adjust with the top vent to try to get us to around 250 to 275-ish. I'm liking the way, oh, we didn't fill the water tray. Right down the middle of this little channel is a water tray. That's going to help separate our food from the heat, keep things a little lower, a little slower. So
now don't do like that and not read the instructions. They say to put boiling water in here because it's going to help adjust the temperature. Really hot metal and cold water can cause warping. And guess what Dad got? A little bit of warping.
My bottom vents are wide open. I want my vent over where the food's going to be because that's going to pull the smoke out. Once again, I have forgotten to do things. We need to throw our little temperature gauge in there because I do not trust the gauge that is on here. This is my little wireless barbecue thermometer. I think I've done a review on it. If I have, I'll throw the link up. This thing's awesome. And now we can throw our lid on. It has a little wireless thing here that will tell me what this probe is doing. And it's 97 degrees already in there. We should be getting ready to put food on soon. I probably should have read further in the instructions because I have the vents incorrectly. I'm supposed to have the top vent fully open and the bottom vent halfway. When it reaches about 150 to 175 for the grate, we're supposed to close the top vent to a half and the bottom to a crack. So I messed it up already, but we'll see how it comes out. So let's go top vent to half. This setup is supposed to stabilize our temperature. We're at about 225, so I'm gonna go ahead and start throwing on my burn ends. All right, let's see if this sucker fits. Okay, kind of fits. We just have to move some food around. Not bad. Now we're gonna close the lid down on this. These are gonna go for, I don't know, 2 to 4 hours until they get what's called a bark. It's that brown outside, crunchy looking, blackish coating that you get on good barbecue. Let's close it up. We'll check back every once in a while.
Quick Hatless Dad update. We're at about 270. We want to be in the 250 to 275 range. So I closed the vent down a little bit. We're about an hour and a half in. I'm going to check them in 2 hours. So I'll see you real soon.
The temps kept just climbing, so I found this tip online that said to put binder clips around there, and it makes a better seal, which just keeps air from getting in there, which is going to pop your temps up. So I gave it a try.
Well, it's going down. I guess the binder clips work. We've been doing the dance, but it's time to check it. It has been 2 hours. I don't want to see how these things look. Do we have bark? What's going on? Not looking too bad. Kind of getting a little bit of that bark. I think I'm gonna swap the ones at the back to the front. These will go a little bit longer. I'm excited yet nervous because this is where I always screw stuff up. I get it looking pretty good and then I have a problem.
We'll check these in about an hour. I don't think they're going to need more than that.
At this point, we are just shy of 3 hours here. I'm gonna check them and see how the bark looks. The bark looks. Nice and dark on that side. Could use a little bit of extra color there, but I think we're good. I think these are good for stage 1. We're gonna go inside for stage 2. We're done with the smoker for now. No, we're done with the smoker. It's hot. It's Africa hot out there. And you know what? At this point, they have taken as much smoke and flavor from that smoker, grill, whatever it is, as they're gonna get. So we're gonna finish these in the oven. BTUs are BTUs, to quote my friend Harry Sue. He's not my friend, but I watch his channel. And if you like barbecue, you should probably check him out too. Finishing these in the oven will make absolutely zero difference on our flavor. They look pretty good right now. I mean, nice little crunch. Now, the thing they're missing is they are not tender. Not tender at all. Take a little bite of one of them just to see how the flavor is. It's delicious. Beefy, smoky, but not tender. We want tender. How do we do that? We're gonna braise them. A little bit of beef broth. And the secret ingredient, guys, this is Wagyu Beef Tallow. Wagyu beef is probably the best beef in the world. It comes from Japan. They feed the cows a special diet. They live a better life. It produces like a highly fat-rich beef. But the fat is also different than regular fat. It melts at a lower temperature. It tastes different. And this is just basically a big jar of beef fat. And we're gonna mix that beef fat and that beef broth, make it into a braising liquid, stick these in the oven at 250 with a cover for, I don't know, another 2 hours, hour to two. It doesn't matter the time. What matters is the squish factor. We'll check them in an hour, squish them. If they're squishy, they're done. But let's mix this up first. Really easy. We're just gonna, we want enough liquid to kind of cover. So we'll pour you guys in there. I have never used this before. I'm very excited to see what kind of flavor we get out of this. It's Wagyu, but it wasn't too expensive. I think this whole jug was like 25 bucks. We'll just use that much. I don't know. I've never done this. You don't have to refrigerate it. You don't have to do anything. You just have it. All right. It should basically just melt. That's my oven. It says it's ready. I know this stuff is rich, so I don't want to use too much of it. We'll see how this goes. See you in about an hour. In total, they did about 2 hours in the oven in their little liquid, so they've been sitting here for a little while. Ooh. At this point, you could just eat them just like this. Or we can take them out of there, sauce them up, stick them back in the oven for a little bit and let them glaze up. That's up to you. I'm just gonna give this one a try as is. All right. Oh yeah, squish factor, definitely squishy. Barely even touch them, that's how hot they are. All right. Tender, good little bit of flavor. I think they need some sauce. And just pull it apart with my fingers. You don't want to mush, it's not pot roast. You want it to have a little bite to it. I think that's fantastic. I'm gonna sauce these up and that's gonna be dinner for tonight. I think the Slow N Sear did pretty well. Kept everything pretty even on the temperatures. I just had to keep messing around with it. I think my Webber has a little bit of a leak issue around the lid, which caused my temps to go up, so I gotta work on that. I bought a barbecue seal. We're making progress on smoking on the Webber kettle. You could do these completely in the oven if you wanted. Maybe put a little bit of liquid smoke on there, and you could totally just follow the exact same instructions, but in your oven, and it'd probably come out pretty darn good. If you don't care for smoke flavor, it'd be perfect for you. All right, that'll do it. Dad may be getting better at barbecue, but Dad doesn't do outros, so that's it. Bye.